I missed the sunrise yesterday, so I'm making up for it now. Here it is. Welcome to day 4, and of course day 4 of solo travelling. Just a reminder, while I'm solo, I do have you as company, which is making a difference. But being day 4 means that benign insanity, that slight madness that stalks one every minute of every day when one is doing solo travel, is knocking on the door and is getting me to remember some of the great solo trips that I've done in the past. And I'm going to share a lot of those with you today. If you'd like to download the entire series right now, the link is in the description. I'm Andrew St Pierre White, explorer, overlander and broadcaster with over 40 years driving 4x4s. Welcome to 4X Overland. I'm a prisoner of this hill. An amazing sleep. I had the best sleep so far. I'm rejuvenated, energy's back. I went to sleep at 8 o'clock and woke up now at 7. A really sound sleep. The wind came up strongly in the middle of the night and then died down again. I woke up once, but very briefly. Right, what am I going to do this morning? Take it easy, I think. I'm actually thinking about doing away with my coffee machine system in my car, because this pod coffee actually it's kind of losing its flavour. It's okay. It's nice. I think I was in the States and I tried some instant coffee actually also by Starbucks, and it was brilliant and it was instant. Because the fact is that making a coffee with my coffee machine and the water boiler while camping actually is quite, it's time consuming. I don't mind that. It's kind of a ritual. I like that. But it uses a lot of water, and I'm thinking that maybe there's another way of exploring nice coffee. See, that doesn't look bad. Solo travelling, I call it a benign insanity. I'm not suffering from it too badly on this particular trip. I think I've got more used to driving on my own, long distance on my own. So on my earlier trips, I remember the worst was actually in Namibia in 2010. While I find myself on a lonely, windswept, grassy plain in the Namib. Tomorrow I'll hit the coast. I really must learn to get myself up a little earlier in the morning. I missed the sunrise this morning as I woke up. Took a picture from the top of my tent of the sun. I was just too late to watch it actually appear over the hill, over the mountains. And it was the first part of my 65-day expedition to find the source of the Okavango, and I was driving through a very remote part of Namibia. I went silly, I went bonkers, I started, it was like I was on some kind of hallucinogenic drug. Fantastic in its nothingness. Imagine somebody being wrecked ashore here. What would they think? Oh boy, we're saved. Oh, we got to land. Oh wow. Hold on a minute. Oh, they gotta get back in the boat. Try saying hallucinogenic quickly 3 times once in a row. Oh, you're being very silly. I must be getting used to it because I'm not feeling mad. I'm enjoying the silence. It's extraordinarily quiet, although the wind has started to come up again. the sensation of being on your own and the sensation of being so remote. We've been lucky in Australia to be able to find places like this relatively easily. There's bouts of madness when you're completely on your own. That's ridiculous, I tell you. Not even close. I met those two people, there's 4 vehicles in that convoy yesterday. They were going, they'll be well off the track now, they'll be 200 plus kilometers. There's a fair chance that the closest person to me is 200 kilometers away. At Warburton. It's likely actually. So how would you feel if you were 200 kilometers from the nearest human? It's cool. I like it anyway. You know, the systems on this car work so well. And I've been asked many times, what is it with me and Egon? People are interested in, and I'm obviously part of what I do is Egon, but what is it? I should actually explain that. Not now, because I'm going to get ready and I'm going to get back on the road now. Maybe tonight. Egon was born of shortcomings I saw in the industry. I was building vehicles and I was making these incredible systems, and then people were saying, "Oh, well, how do I get that?" And I'd say, so Egon was born. We decided to do build those systems, and put them in a package where you can, if you're building a vehicle, use these products, and all the difficult work that I've been asked so many times, how did you do that, and what did you do there? And it's been done for you. Plug and play water system, plug and play electrical system. I'll share that with you tonight. Nice little story. Not a long story, but nice story. Right, first, comb my hair. Is there any point in it? Honestly, I know some of you have a go at me because I never brush my hair, but honestly, is there any point in it? It was too cold to have a shower last night, you know, so I just washed my face, and I'm not going to do anything else, so I'm not going to bother. How'd that look? Pretty good? Yeah. The roads yesterday were very rough. There it is. Very rough. I like to keep my engine clean, and the reason for that is that if there is then a leak, it shows up, you see it, and of course the dust clings to it. But if you've got a very dirty engine, it won't show up. So I have put down a waypoint. For this campsite, and I've called it Lovely Camp in Trees. Okay, so if I want to go up like that, I'm going to have to do that and that. So every time, the trouble is with the camera in this location, every time I turn it on, I have to reframe it. There, it's automatically framed. So, right, for me to be able to make the trip and fuel-wise, I need to do minimum of 500 per tank, per 90 litre tank. The gauge for my sub-tank is very accurate, and it will be showing half within the next hour, and I have got to have at least 250 kilometers clocked by the time it reaches half. assuming that the rest of the track will consume a similar amount of fuel per kilometer that it has behind me. That's 20 k's on that little bit of fuel. If I can make that work, then I'll make my destination without having to go into my emergency 20 litre. I'll report back when we hit half on the tank and see how kilometers on the Odo. A lot of people, I know, if I think back at some of the trips that I've done with people, we often chat about what we're going to do next to our cars, to our four-wheel drives, to our overlanders, and how to make them better. What would be the ultimate overlander? And to me, there is no ultimate overlander. The ultimate overlander really is a mythical thing. We're all so different, and the kind of trips we do are all very different. It's not. But I do that. Yeah, I guess I do that. But I also think about what cameras that I want to do on my next trip, because I'm thinking to myself, well, what's the mission for the next trip that I do? I've stopped to see if the camel will get off the track, and it won't get off the track. It's standing there, and it's stopped, and it won't get off the track. It cannot see. What do I do? What do I do to get it off the track? I don't actually know what to do to get it off the track. Apart from being scare the crap out of it. Really difficult, Oh, it's left the track. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. It doesn't. It can't see. It's like this. It's completely its brain, And I sometimes think that the universe was very, very kind to some animals. If you think about a camel's existence, its brain is so small. This is proof of it, that it's not self-aware in any way at all. Imagine if it was self-aware. It doesn't even have the brains to see anything other than the track. It's all it can see. And it will die. It will collapse and die from exhaustion unless I get it off the track. And how do I get it off the track? There's a nice clear area here. Let's try this. There you go. I remember the camels in Oman, I think it was. Was it the Emirates? I was driving a Jeep, and camels the same thing. They could not, we were behind that camel for 30 plus minutes. There's nothing we could do. The Australian bush is magic. That I find in the Australian bush is its emptiness. I had considered doing the gun barrel highway. It was one of the things that I'd considered, and actually my third choice was this. The reason why I decided not to do the gun barrel is that all the reports that I had received is that the gun barrel is just brutal. They call it demonic corrugations. Corrugations are not fun. They're just not fun. So you get to the point where, is it really worth it? Because the driving experience is not pleasurable. So then there is a balance where you say, well, no, it's not worth it. And a lot of people, I think, do the gun barrel because it's something they'd like to tick off, because it's brutal. It's very hard on vehicles because of the corrugations. But that's all. It's not a particularly long and challenging track. It's a bit technical in places, certainly far more technical than this. But the corrugations make it unpleasant, make enough of it unpleasant for me. Then I thought, okay, I did think about doing the Anne Bedell. The Anne Bedell also lots and lots of corrugations on the Anne Bedell, but I like the idea of doing that, and I will do the full length of the Anne Bedell. I've done 1/3 of it already. 2019, so I will do that. I will do that full length of the Anne Bedell at some stage. But this is beautiful. It's rough in places. The driving is occasionally a bit technical, but it's not difficult. And I love this country. This red dune country. It's very similar to the Canning in many respects. Not as beautiful as the northern part of the Canning. It's not. The mission for the Africa trip, for example. Now, when I'm building my Africa Landcruiser, mission first, long distance trips in Africa to photograph and do my show, obviously, and the opportunities there to photograph wildlife are obvious, and to do that I need certain pieces of equipment, and the last time I did it was 2018. It was a wonderful trip, a really memorable trip, and the wildlife photography was part of it, and I think it was a very important part of the appeal of the show, and certainly my personal enjoyment of being there and photographing the birds and the animals. So I want to do better this time. So do I get the 600mm lens? I've been using a 100 to 400 millimeter. All my equipment is Sony G Master. It's a lovely lens. It's reasonably compact. But I want to do better. So I'm thinking Sony A7R5. The R5 allows me to shoot 8K. Now, I'm not going to produce 8K shows. I will never produce 8K shows. I produce 4K shows. I say never. Certainly not in the foreseeable future. It's too complicated, and who will want to watch on 8K, really? Even HD as it is. I mean, I produce my shows largely for YouTube and for a 4K audience that buys my shows from video on demand, and they can buy and download in 4K and watch them in beautiful 4K. That's why I produce 4K shows. Otherwise I wouldn't bother. I'd just do HD. There's no point to do it on YouTube. There's no reward in doing it, because it's far more complicated, and you need far faster computers, etc., to deal with 4K than HD. Shooting on 8K means that I can crop. So 4K on a 400mm lens, shooting with 8K is actually the equivalent of an 800mm lens. I don't need longer than 800mm. The longer you go, the more the challenges are camera stabilization. So eventually you can't use a really, really long lens with video unless you have very good stabilization, and that adds complications. And so I have to rely on in-camera and in-lens electronic stabilization that is amazingly effective with these cameras. But even they have their limitations. So I'm thinking, okay, don't get the 600mm lens. Instead, spend the money on the 8K capability of the A7R5. But it doesn't shoot. And if I'm shooting a bird, if I'm shooting an elephant, a lion, or an antelope, or giraffe, or some animal, beautiful thing, I'll shoot it in 50 frames per second. Sometimes even 100 frames per second, because then I can slow it down. And it just has that lovely feeling about it. If you slow it down by 50%, it just enriches the image. But the A7R5 cannot shoot in 4K at 50 frames per second. It can only shoot at 25, or from the US 30. I use PAL 25, 50, 100. You guys will use 30, 60, 120. So it won't shoot in. So if I'm shooting in 8K, yes, I get the crop factor, but I don't get the slow factor. And so my African troop carrier is for that. So I'm designing it very similar to this. I'm doing similar length trips, perhaps longer in Africa than in Australia. You know, if I'm going to get onto a plane and fly coach, which I have to do, I am going to make sure that torture, that 25 hours of torture there and 25 hours likewise back, is going to mean something. I've got to really make it count, and I make it count by doing a long trip. And for me to do a long trip and be comfortable and to be able to sustain myself, I need comfort. And the troop carrier is to me the one of few vehicles that will give me that kind of comfort when camping and things like that, and be able to sustain me for a period of time, and I can now go and do my show, film my animals, and make a story to entertain you guys. That's where I'm at. I have not been looking. I've been deliberately not looking at the mileage. I don't know what it is. I've just been looking at the tank, see when it's half, and it's give or take half now. I guess I'll just stop showing exactly half. I grab the camera out from here and point it at it, turn that on, and point it at it there, and 256. There it is there. All right, 256 means, yeah, I'm going to make it with no fuel left in the tank. I need 1,010. And I have 1,000 range. So it's going to be close. But I do have the emergency fuel in the back, and that's why I put it in there, because I knew that I was going to be close. So.
Progress today has been quite good, and because the evenings and nights are cold, I've just pulled off the track to have a quick shower. I also wanted to show off the fact that I can have a quick shower, and when I mean quick, I'm talking 20 seconds to set up, or less actually.
The components are the Egon water hub, a 12-volt Duetto water heater, and an Egon shower hose kit. I should add though that the water hub is compatible with any hot water system. So if you've got a hot water system that delivers hot water, but now putting it all together and getting the temperature right and rigging it all up is complicated, water hub does it all for you. Just plug in your hot water source into it. I just prefer electric because it's just so straightforward. You turn it on, click, done. And if you need privacy, well then that's what this is. It's the quick pitch ensuite privacy curtain. 30 seconds and I've got privacy. And I don't need it now. I don't know, the closest person to me is probably 200 kilometers away, maybe more. So, I don't need privacy.
This then is Neil Junction, the confluence between the Connie Sue Highway running north-south and the Anbedell running east-west. And where I shot one of my favourite sequences that I've ever shot while solo.
Sway to the right, sway to the left. In the morning everything is spent, and I make my way back home.
Neil Junction, the Anbedell Highway and the Connie Sue Highway running north-south. It's exactly 1:15 and it's covering up the little date thing. Let's see. There you go, 16th of July. They came through today, heading west. West to east along the Anbedell. So they're going east. Have been pretty good so far, but expecting them to deteriorate near the border. Okay, well, I will do the same thing. 16 July 23 ASPW heading south. That'll be good enough. At the moment, Laverton, the town that I had driven through in 240, and these distances are in miles. So 220 miles to the south, with the South Australia border, so 426 to Emu and 600 miles to Cooper PD. So I am going to go south to Warlina, is 220 miles. Heading south. Ah, that mirror has been bashed badly back. That's no good. I'm going to sort that out before I head off. Now I've got the camera working. Update. 380 kilometers now. I've done 180 today, and we should be at a quarter of a tank, and we are above a quarter of a tank. So our fuel consumption has improved, but I must say there have been sections of the southern part, I'm not on one now, that are just like driving on ice. It's so smooth. Just I think it's a piece ahead. I'm just sitting in fourth gear at 60 k's an hour. There you go, smooth. It's just tracking, and this kind of driving is making up for the bad consumption yesterday. So I'm quite comfortable now. I've taken some of the tension out of the trip because I'm pretty confident our fuel's going to be good. So now with only 20 k's to go before the day is allotted 200, I'm going to start looking for a campsite. I'm going to start now. It's 10 to 3. Made good time today, and I've really enjoyed the drive. Really, and it was really nice actually stopping off and having my shower. It was nice and warm, having a bit of lunch, and that whole process, lunch and a shower and everything, was 30 minutes. The whole thing. The systems in this car work so well. make a fire tonight and I want to cook some sausages. Gonna make sausages. I saw a possible campsite. There was a big branch across the road, which is firewood. There's plenty of firewood around here. I can actually see it's a good place to camp. This is a good place to camp. Okay. There's wood there. Let me see. Yeah. Good place to camp. I'm gonna just reverse around here. There's wood, plenty of wood. Yeah, it's perfect. Really nice place to camp. And plenty of firewood. Plenty of firewood. Okay, so we're gonna camp here.
I make it a habit of checking on the vehicle when I stop for a night, and I've found something that needs attention.
That's it there. There's a hole there. I'll have to get a hammer to bash that, put it in place, but it actually is supposed to hang there. The other one is missing, should be here. It's actually slid, it's behind there, it's hidden. Doing a quick inspection under the vehicle has revealed a problem with the suspension. The spring hangers.
These brackets stop the leaves from spreading and moving laterally, as well as overextension of the springs that could break it.
They've both come off. They're both still there, but they've just come off. I need to find a way of putting them back, which means I need a bolt and thread. That's too heavy. That might work. It might be too short. That would probably be work. Do I have nuts for this though? It's pretty important that I fix it. Alrighty. So this. Put that in there. Is it long enough? Barely. Barely long enough. Shepherd. I don't think that's long enough. I don't think that's long enough. Okay. What will work is it the other way around. With the locking nut. It's a square nut and it has pins on it that allows you to. So we're going to do that. Yeah. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. I think that's a good repair. The other one, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because that other bolt is not quite long enough. So, I don't know why it's doing that, because its plastic sleeve is now doing the job. If it does that, it won't do its job. But the thing about, if you're travelling with people, it's the preparation. You know, you can get away with things travelling with people. Travelling on your own, so I noticed that some of the parts in that grey box with all my nuts and bolts in it. It's looking a bit thin. I haven't gone through it and replenished it for a long time. In fact, I haven't gone through and replenished it since the canning stock route, and we actually used it on the canning. There were a few bits and pieces that we took out of it for that trip to keep the Range Rover going. 182 kilometre drive and fixing the springs, well, one of them anyway, is a beer. I did the 182 kilometers in 4 hours. Yesterday it took tad over 5, if I remember correctly, to do the 200. So the average speed has gone up considerably, and luckily, fortunately, the average fuel consumption has come down as a result. What am I going to eat? What have I got? Gwen made me a stroganoff. I could have a stroganoff. Warming that up in the travel buddy. I've got pies. I've got some chicken pies. Very nice looking chicken pies. Or I've got a butter chicken, but I'd have to make rice. I like that butter chicken, it's nice. I feel like cooking something on a fire though. I think I'm going to cook my sausages. And then have sausages. I've got some nice fresh rolls. What else could I do? I don't have any salads and things, and I've got tomatoes. It's the only salady thing I brought. Not very interesting this, is it? Is this interesting? I'm going to bring out a few pieces of equipment, one that's very new and a couple that are very, very old. The oldest pieces of equipment that I'm currently carrying in this car. And I'm going to use one of them now, and the other one I'm not going to use because I don't need to use it, but I'm going to show it to you anyway because I always travel with it. I would like to thank my friend Robert in Florida who bought me this. I'm going to see if it works because I'm going to make myself a cup of soup. I'm going to put twigs and things in here, and I'm going to make myself a small, very localized fire, and following the instructions I'm going to boil some water in this little guy, and this is of course the new item. The very seasoned item that I'm going to use to boil the water in is this guy here. Not very many of you will be familiar with that. I haven't used that in a while, and I carry it all the time, but you know, it's so easy to boil water on gas. I just tend to do it. But that is a cherished possession because I guess it's just so old. It's a very, very ordinary kettle. So we'll see how this goes. Now the instructions are put lots and lots of little twigs in here. No accelerant, in other words no fire lighters or anything like that. And you light it with
a match. So I'm going to try that because that's what the instructions say, and I've got to make a little fire here. These are the vent holes. Alright, you're supposed to do it when there's no wind at all. There is a very soft breeze, so it should work. And okay, so that's a nice little pile of leaves. I'm going to, well, I wonder about the efficacy of just using a match with no accelerant, to be honest with you. But we'll see. Looks promising. The one match has gone out and has not taken, so I'm going to try a third. It's actually starting to look quite good. I'm going to pop that in there. Looks okay. Just look after it, won't you, while I get some water. A little more than a cup of water. That's actually working well, isn't it? Look at that. Cool. Bloody brilliant. Brilliant. The little fire. So then once the fire's, at some stage I put that in there and then put the kettle on top. A little bit more fuel, I think. Probably should have put the table away from the car. Maybe I'll quickly do that. I'm thinking that this is probably going to, that the fire is a little larger than I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that there like that. Okay, better. Safer, I think. Are you serious? You know as well as I do the rule. The rule of instructions is whatever you do, don't follow the instructions. I mean, that it's common knowledge in every culture. But then if things aren't working, it's okay don't make too much of a noise about it. Don't tell anybody that you're reading the instructions, but quietly read the instructions. But if you're going to read the instructions, follow them implicitly. Don't guess. Just follow them implicitly, because then you can rant at it's a rubbish product. Until that point, you can't actually rant that it's a rubbish product. That fire has gone out. You thought that this went in like that. So I opened it up and just put some more twigs in there, and it immediately came to light again. So it wasn't dead, it was still hot in there. I can only assume that is the case. So I'm going to leave it burning for a while and actually try and get some slightly heavier twigs in there. I have to assume that your bout of benign insanity was affecting more than just your sense of humour, and that it was actually affecting your cognitive reasoning. Andrew, it's not difficult. Well, we'll see how that goes. The other piece of equipment that I have is this guy here. It is a Francis Barker prismatic compass. I used an image that I shot of the compass dial as part of the logo for my mapping company, Infomap. And I haven't used it in a while because it got a very large bubble in it, and I've been trying to find out how to repair it, and I found something on the internet just a few weeks ago. And the only time I think that this has appeared on any television show or any of the videos I've ever made is that in 1993, crossing areas of the Makarikari salt pan in Botswana, my friend Jonty, we were doing plotting on a map. We had no GPS at the time, and we had a fairly rudimentary map, and we were using this to plot where we were. We were taking bearings on hills, and we could then use a vector and find out where we were. And I can't actually videotape what I'm actually doing, but dead reckoning with the aid of a compass.
347.
So we don't want to go too west.
Due west.
We don't want to go too west. I'm going to get the sun is at the moment just disappearing behind the trees over there. So I'm going to get a compass fix on the sun.
Where's Kukanya Island?
But you see that there? You see that there?
Yeah.
That is, I bet you that is that, and we are here. Where I'm standing there, I'm going to move away from the vehicle because I think it's possible that the vehicle might be, the metal of the vehicle might be affecting the...
This car's killing lives.
Yeah, no, let's put it on the ground there because you're going to get...
You're on somewhere on that line, holiday.
Because this makes such a lot of sense, John.
Yeah.
The two spits, that spit and that spit. I think what we should do, drive along the edge of the pan.
Okay.
All the way along there.
It's an incredible scene.
The bearing that I'm getting. So obviously the sun sets in the west, yes, but it doesn't set exactly in the west because, well, we're winter time now. It is setting at 2, 9, 8. Gwen and I got married in 1990, and this is what she bought me for my wedding gift. I really wanted one. They were very expensive, and they're upper military grade compass. I bought her a pair of Leica binoculars. We at the time were crazy about bird watching and doing trips all over the place. That was only about 6 months before we went and lived in Botswana and the Okavango for a year. And, well, I didn't need the compass then, but we sure used the binoculars a lot. And it sounds a bit of a cliche, I guess, is that I was going to make sure we stayed on course, our marriage, and she was going to be able to look into the distance and see any shortfalls and challenges up ahead and etc, etc. Corny? Yes, but you're allowed to be corny. When you're getting married, you're allowed to be corny. That's the one time it's permissible to be corny. If you're watching this in America, the word is cheesy. It's a true story. Ta-da! That is made by a company called Osbry. And if you're interested in getting yourself a set, go to forexoverland.com/shop. You can get them directly from my store. These are excellent, by some South Africans, so it's called Osbry. And for you guys in South Africa, you know something? These guys in Australia, they're making better products than you can get in South Africa now. Can you believe it? They had to come all the way out here to Oz to improve it. Because not only has it got the 3 swinging legs, they got a little triangle in the middle there, and instead of making it a triangle, they put a circle in so you can put all shapes and sizes on it, including kettles. Busy filming. Is that camera still running? No, it's not. Well, I need to get some coals together, make a little place here for cooking. I'm going to make some sausages. This is one of my favorite times for filming because the light, it's called blue light. The sun has been gone down for 30 minutes already ish, and these Sony cameras in this light, it's actually quite, well, it's not dark, but it's not light, and yet the cameras just yield this beautiful soft glow of the red ground. I love filming now and telling stories now. Another piece of equipment which is reasonably new to my stable of equipment. I did a video on it, and I did a kind of a tongue-in-cheek review. It's called the something Annihilate. What's it called again? A stupid name. Look what I found. But actually, it's quite nice. This is the camping tool Deadpool would use.
Let's dance.
It's called the Annihilate Assassin. If I can use it for chopping, cutting, it would make a good weapon against a snake or something like that. You know, I just realized something. This is a really good idea. It's a much better idea than my other shovel, because this is a weapon. This is a very effective weapon against, or what might I confront in the bush? Snake. And I have it attached to my back door, and it's good for toilet duties, multi-purpose. It comes with all kinds of attachments and things which I've kind of ignored, but I've just made it my go-to Welcome to another piece of my kit. The video wasn't popular at all, but I thought it was very funny. Anyway. The trouble is, it's not making nice coals. And I'm finding a few bits of wood around that is denser, but it's going to be a while until I actually have enough coals. I must say, I am enjoying myself. I really am enjoying myself a lot. I should tell you that because I work hard on these shoots to get you the story. I do work hard. But I do have a lot of fun. And I find that it's moments like this that I enjoy it the most. That I've got these two cameras. I think of this and I go and think of this and then I think of that and I think of that, and I'm changing the camera around. I mean, different scene, different cameras all the time. I've now got on here on this camera the 1.4 24mm Sony G Master lens. Man, it's sharp. It's beautiful. Prime lenses, fixed focal lenses, are generally speaking better than zoom lenses for quality, but not for practicality while filming videos. So I use mostly zoom lenses because of the practicality. You can't keep on changing lenses when you want to reframe a shot. But in a situation like this where it's really dark now, I can't see. What you're seeing is far lighter than what I'm seeing. I can't see detail in the bushes now. It's black. I can see the trees against the sky, but that's it. No detail, no foreground or middle ground detail at all. And I just think, oh, I'll do that, and then I'll do that, and then I'll do that, and then I'll do that. And I love it. I love it. I don't know what I would do on a solo trip without filming. I don't know if I would do a solo trip. I have you to keep me company, and you literally do keep me company. It might be strange for you to realize that, but you are the guys who keep me busy and keep me active. Otherwise, I think I probably would be quite lonely. I do get quite lonely at the tent at night, and I wake up in the middle of the night and I realize where I am, and then I'm so remote, so isolated from anybody else. And but I try not to overthink it, because I think overthinking it might make me scared of it. But in an environment like this, and when the sun comes up in the morning, I'm so happy to get up and turn on a camera and point it at me. It's a strange thing. I've had a couple of flashbacks while being on this trip, and the one that I'm having now is I had driven. It was also on the gold. We were searching for the source of the Okavango. I was in Namibia. I had driven through the Honeb River. I'd seen some desert elephants, amazing desert elephants, and I was very, very remote, and I took a very remote track en route to a place called Puros, which is this tiny settlement in the middle of the desert, as remote as this. Not quite as remote as this. It's who's arguing. And I walked to my cruiser. It was the 105, and I had a rooftop tent on it, and I walked out, and I seemed to say, well, this was it. This was what I was looking for. This is the reason for the trip. This is what it's about. Being utterly alone. I reckon the closest person to me now, conservatively speaking, 40 kilometers away. That's about a 2-hour drive on these roads. You average about 20, maybe 25 kilometers an hour. There's nobody around. There's some animals around, which is rather nice. I've seen on the way here, very close, ostrich, gemsbok, springbok, lots of ground fowl, koorhans. And there's nobody around. I remember there was this yellow grassy plain and there was some springbok. And the difference between, now thinking about it, the difference between that kind of touring, remote touring in Africa, because it's easier to find remote spots in Australia than it is in Africa. Generally, it's a generalization, but it is. And there it was truly remote. But there were still lots of birds. Very few birds here. I can hear a few in the morning, but not many. I see very few during the day. I've seen some budgerigars, small flocks of budgerigars during the day. Very few birds. And now in Africa, even in the desert, I would be hearing birds like the nightjar and perhaps owls. Here, there is nothing. There's absolutely nothing stirs. Of course, wildlife here, a lot of it is nocturnal. I saw 2 dingoes today. Got a beautiful. They're very beautiful animals. The dingo. They've slender fawn colour, and they were near there was a dead camel. I didn't film it because the smell was overpowering. I didn't want to, and I also didn't want to disturb the dingoes. So I did find the dead camel, drove past the dead camel today. But apart from that, no other life at all. I'm going to make some soup. Get my gloves. There you go. And my sausages cook, which I'm about to put on right now. Lovely. Right, I'm going to get some sausages out the fridge. This cooker is, like the other one, also from Osbry. And as you can probably see, it's brand new. So, this is going to be great. So what we do is you take this guy, make sure that they're not touching each other so you can get cook evenly. You put that in there and then put the little sleeve in there, and this collapses actually. So yeah, there you go. See, so you can cook it and then flip it with its own stand. And I'm going to use this one. I'm going to just reposition this. You see this? There you go. So this little spade, see, it's got these little hooks on it, so you can use it for hooking things. And it's got a cutting edge there, and a cutting edge there. So it's really quite nice. Anyway, I think it's not quite hot enough. Really nice. These sausages are going to last me. That's slightly overdone, that one. I'll give it to the dingoes. So I'm cutting on a cutting board here that was also, like these cooking items, available on the 4S Overland shop. This is it's got the logo on it, and it's made from an Western Australian hardwood called Jarrah.